Black Dog After Dark is recorded in a video store by people who have been drinking. We swear a lot, and there's spoilers. It's not safe for work, unless you work in a video store and have also been drinking.
I'm a Barbie girl.
Oh, for
in a
fuck's
Barbie
sakes.
world.
That was a thing, wasn't it?
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up.
Roger, Roger. What's our vector, Victor?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
I know that, Mr. Man. They also call them cereals. I'm not stupid, you know.
The story is ludicrous. You can imagine where it goes from here.
Fixes the cable.
Have you ever jacked in? Have you ever wired tripped?
This is not like TV, only better. This is a piece of somebody's life, straight from the cerebral cortex. I am your main connection to the switchboard of the soul.
It's the dark end of the street. How do you like it now?
There's more to this whole thing than you think. You don't know how high up the food chain this thing goes.
This is conspiracy paranoia.
The issue isn't whether you're paranoid, Lenny. The issue is whether you're paranoid enough. Come on, man, cheer up. Roll's gonna end in 10 minutes anyway.
Let's try that again.
Happy
New Year, everybody.
No, fuck that. I hope you have a lousy New Year.
I say we should note that it's a New Year's Eve special recorded over a month before.
This is the end of 2018.
Yes.
So tomorrow is going to be 2019.
Crazy to think.
My New Year's resolution is to stop cutting Alex off mid-sentence.
Whoa, that's going to be tough, man.
I feel bad because I've edited 10 of these things,
right? And
every time I feel like a total dickhead. So my New Year's resolution is to stop cutting Alex off mid-sentence. So, Alex, what is your New Year's resolution?
You can make it all up with cutting off if you just actually...
Anyway, so the movie we're doing right now is...
So obviously this will happen after today's movie.
Yeah, it's not New Year's yet. The movie is Kathryn Bigelow's Strange Days. And the only reason I chose it was because I thought we should have a New Year's Eve movie in place. Mm-hmm. And to see literally the only movie I can think of that takes place at New Year's Eve, other than Trading Places and...
Is that New Year's Eve?
200 Cigarettes. My favorite is The Apartment. Jack Lemmon and
I've never seen
Shirley MacLaine, and it's set between Christmas and New Year's Eve, and it's...
Yeah, I've never seen it. Well, you know my aversion to Jack Lemmon.
Yeah,
so
what? Yeah. That's crazy.
It is a little crazy.
Jack Lemmon's amazing.
Yeah, I've always had an issue with Jack Lemmon. He's too fidgety. He makes me nervous. He's too fidgety.
You're like one of those kids who's afraid of balloons because you can't predict where they're going to go.
Yeah, or when they're going to explode. Jack Lemmon is my balloon.
One of my favorite all-time alternate what ifs of casting. And I once heard where Death Wish originally it was almost Jack Lemmon, directed by Sidney Lumet.
Really? I heard Jack Lemmon was up for E.T. as well, and as E.T. Funny.
My New Year's resolution is to stop talking about Jack Lemmon.
Well, good luck with that.
Strange Days is the movie. Directed by Kathryn Bigelow, the film was filmed in 1995. It's set in 1999.
Y2K.
During New Year's Eve. I'll just jump right in. The first time I saw this movie I didn't see it in theaters. It was a rental. And honestly, I just totally forgot about this movie. I guess I was probably stoned. It didn't grab my attention. And that was that. Alex, did you see this movie when it came out in theaters? Or what was your first memory of this movie?
I never saw the full thing in theaters.
You never saw it before, is what you're trying to say.
I didn't see the full film until today when I watched it. But I remember now I saw probably the first 5 or 10 minutes in a cinema. And it was about a year after the film had been released. I remember the promo for it and stuff and seeing ads for it on TV and the trailers in the theater.
Did you get kicked out of the cinema? Is that why you did? You only saw like 10 minutes of it?
No. About a year later, there was a film festival in Montreal. I was living in Montreal at the time, and I was going to Concordia. And I did a report on, I guess our whole class did a report on this film festival specializing and focusing on women filmmakers. And I watched a whole lot of films that day, and then there was a super late night screening of Strange Days, but I couldn't make it through. It had nothing to do with the film itself. I was just so exhausted. But now that I think about it, it was the Imperial Cinema in Montreal, by the way. It's a real landmark there. I saw about the first 10 minutes. And I was always really curious to see this movie, but I didn't actually see it until today for the purposes of the podcast.
I think you saw the best part of the movie.
Well, I saw the whole movie, so
there you
today.
Go.
So I don't know.
So Darren, what is your memory of this?
I watched it on video as well. It was probably shortly after we opened the video store, because we opened the video store in 1996. And if this movie came out in 1995, I didn't see it in the theater, so I would have saw it in video.
Yeah.
So it would have been around the same time we opened the first Black Dog. I remember it being long, and I remember liking part of it and not liking part of it, and I kind of forgot all about it after a while. So I don't really have much in the line of memories about this film, positive or negative. It was a movie I saw.
So it's safe to say that for all three of us, this movie more or less sort of just went under the radar.
Yeah, I had expectations because it's had like an interesting premise. And it was I think it was quite widely promoted at the time.
Oh, it was heavily.
I had some expectations that it was going to be this groundbreaking, mind-blowing kind of cool thing, and I think I was a little bit let down when I saw it.
Fiennes appeared on the cover of one of the major magazines at the time
Playboy?
Promoting his film. And his hair was teased out into a huge lion's mane style. It was
really?
Weird, yeah. And it was to promote this film. It was one of the major, like, Esquire or something.
Why? Because his hair wasn't big in the movie.
No, I know. That's what was strange. And I went into this movie thinking, wow, is this the Ralph Fiennes, like, lion's mane movie? I was expecting at some point he was going to... Ralph Fiennes, of course, his career predates what I'm about to say, but watching this film, I kept thinking to myself, my God, Bradley Cooper. He totally reminded me of Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
Even though it was filmed way far before Bradley Cooper.
Have you ever seen a movie called Limitless?
Yeah,
which is really cool. It's a pretty cool film, actually.
I'm not a fan. But
I liked it anyways, but I can see similarities in those two characters.
You know what? Is that your pairing?
I just thought of it right now.
Because
it's your pairing? Well, then I guess
it's not. It's not
that's it. Good night, everybody.
Bye. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people saw it, and those who saw it didn't like it very much.
I liked it. I liked it
but
a lot,
I
actually.
really liked Limitless.
Me too.
I thought it was. It should have been called Unlimited.
But Limitless is hard to say, and it's stupid. It's a stupid word.
So the movie starts on. Well, we see a date.
Yes.
Which
1999.
It takes place in 1999, and I just want to get this out of the way because I've always felt this way about this movie. It is the most 90s movie of all time because the movie was made in 94. It was released in 95, and it takes place in 99.
So it has all the 90s in it.
It's kind of hilarious because the tone of this movie. It must have been written in like 92.
No, it was written in the 80s.
I was going to say, like, it seems like
just
it was
got
written
adapted
a long time
and updated, but it was mid-80s when it was written.
Okay, so it was written in the mid-80s.
By James Cameron.
Which I didn't know until the end of the film. And there you go. And yeah. I'll have words to say to James Cameron about this afterwards.
At the time, married to Kathryn Bigelow and whatever, and they adapted or whatever. My point is that they made the assumption when this movie was created that the late 90s was going to be similar to the early 90s in tone.
Right.
Like in this movie, it's 1999. Grunge has taken over the world. Everyone still listens to Nine Inch Nails, and it's so dark and miserable.
All the music in this movie is like basically heavy metal. Like sludgy, grungy heavy metal.
But it's not heavy metal though, because heavy metal fans would take issue with that.
Almost all the music.
It's that L7 thing. It's that.
I like L7.
It's that Riot Girl shit.
Yeah, I like that
right?
stuff.
But the opposite, in reality, the opposite was in '99. It was all about the fucking Spice Girls and Aqua and shit. Like
Aqua.
Remember, I'm a Barbie girl.
Oh, for
in a Barbie
sakes.
world.
That was a thing, wasn't it?
That actually around '97.
How embarrassing humans
are.
The
tone of the '90s shifted from "I want to kill myself."
But I just don't feel that's
Depends
the
how you're
full
using
tone of the movie at all.
No, but
especially when they bring in the hip hop character. It's not fully.
No, the hip hop character is an even better example of what I'm talking about.
Well, the thing is, this movie was tonally all over the place. It had all of that, but then it had all this crazy anarchy in the streets. Like I don't even know what was going on.
Well, it was
constant
It
anarchy.
predicted a almost full police state in L.A.
It was made.
Was it because it was like 1999?
Rodney King.
Rodney King, yeah, but that was never mentioned.
No, but that was sort of the suggestion.
But that
the
was also 92
the movie's made in 94, right? And when was Rodney King? Like 92?
92,
right?
So
they were looking at the political climate in LA at the time, and they were like, well, how do we comment on this? I know. I'll make a movie that takes place 5 years in the future, where the cops have tanks.
But the thing is, it wasn't a race-based thing. It was just anarchy in the streets, cars on fire, people just drive around doing shit.
It was more like they almost were implying that there was going to be on the eve of the millennium, like the whole, you know, it doesn't mention Y2K because the words Y2K until that year didn't become a big media sensational years later, you know, till closer to the actual date. But I mean, this film seemed to be predicting a near constant police state in LA with anarchy in the streets. And I know I know what you meant. They show like sort of culprits of all color running loose, being picked on.
It wasn't centered on race,
but it was
like Rodney King was.
But it was
no, it wasn't. It was like
it was a free for all. No, but I know what he's talking about. Setting up the film goes in that direction, yes. But at the beginning, it's more or less like there's constant. It's almost like as if Commercial Drive constantly had people running around smashing windows,
cars are on fire,
like 24/7 looting. It was like they were predicting, wow, on the eve of this unknown New Year event or whatever, stepping into the, you know, it's because there's going to be a panic going into the year.
Yeah, but
there was, but not on the level in this movie.
The panic going into the year 2000 didn't really materialize until like 1998, 1999 in real life.
It's true,
and
even then it didn't have tanks.
Well, no, there were no tanks.
Are you shitting me? They had tanks and cops.
Yeah, maybe
the cops had tanks. No,
not in the States or anything. There were no tanks on the streets
of
LA
in 1999. In this film, it's.
I disagree with both of you.
You do? They're in.
First of all, there were tanks that the cops had in Los Angeles in the fucking mid 1980s,
but not on the street.
Yes, they were on the fucking street.
There's that one time that guy stole a tank. Yeah. And drove it around.
I'm talking about the Los Angeles Police Department actually having tanks in active use in the 80s to combat gang crime.
I don't know about that.
But you're a white guy from the fucking suburbs in Canada.
Well, so are you.
I know, but even I know.
Not on the scale that they're presenting in this. I know you have insight into our minority privilege here, Dylan, but the point is...
Should I stand up too?
We're well aware that... Yeah, the cops, you know, we're just saying it's somewhat stylized in this film to the point,
To the point I found it ridiculous.
It was almost Escape from New York.
But the racist cops are like the trigger mechanism of this movie.
The way this film resolves it sure got on my nerves. Hey, it's not systemic racism, it's just a couple of bad apples.
I know, it's always the bad apples.
I watched this whole film thinking, I can't believe in any way, shape, or form, the LAPD cooperated with the making of this film.
Well, of course
I don't think they did.
But then at the end, it has this almost message of, like on the level of Quincy or something, episode of Quincy, where it's like, oh yeah, it's actually just two corrupt cops, not the whole system, and a big white savior is going to corrupt
who was in RoboCop.
Yeah.
The fact that he was in RoboCop. Okay,
there's some editing for you.
So whatever. So we start with how this movie actually starts,
which I thought was brilliant. The opening bit,
the opening scene of this movie is great
because it's like they're in there doing their virtual reality thing. They're in a car, and some dudes are going to do some crimes.
They're going to do a robbery,
and it's like it's first person
video game. I thought it was a new Rockstar game.
I thought that the whole like robbing the restaurant and the whole thing, everything was so intense and great. But then I started to think about it after like they did all this, and the reason they're doing this is so they can sell the experience.
Yeah.
Because they're wearing like those virtual reality squid hair things.
Whatever.
Yeah. Which is really kind of like that's going. I don't know. Didn't buy after I thought about it. As much as I enjoyed it, I didn't buy the fact they go into a restaurant and terrorize people just to get an experience to sell to other people.
I don't think they didn't do that. I think it was a legit robbery, and what happened was...
Why were they wearing the thing?
Because it would have been like, hey...
It's an added source of income.
It's like, hey, we'll pay you $5,000 if you actually tape your own crime.
Yeah, you're going to...
Yeah. So they weren't doing it just
No,
to
God,
record
no.
it.
It was an actual
No. I think they were actually robbing, And then the one guy falls off the roof at the end of it,
which is cool.
But then Rafe finds us like, and by the way, how does he get away with being called Rafe instead of Ralph?
Well, the only other person who knows that is Kim Basinger, who's in fact Kim Basinger, but
Bass.
There's some argument.
My new stage name, Rafe Basinger.
Okay. And when you go on stage?
Starting this podcast. Hi, I'm Rafe Basinger.
And do you play the bass?
He plays the bass.
No, but I'm a singer.
all of the I guess the headset sequences. I mean, what else would you call it? The first person perspective.
The VR sequences.
I thought they were incredibly well done.
They were the best part of the movie.
Because now you could do it. You could actually do it where you put a little camera on an actor's head and have him run around if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But back then, cameras were still these big lunky things.
Yeah, you couldn't put that on someone's
So when
head.
they run and jump over off a rooftop and you see their hands,
yeah.
Like, how the fuck did they actually do that?
I don't know.
The one guy dies during the robbery, and then we pull back and we see Ray Fiennes, and he's like, I can't buy this snuff shit, but then he does buy it or whatever.
Of course he's going to buy it.
And we get into his life, right?
And his questionable accent. Okay, we get into that really
typical fucking limey can't do an
especially at the beginning of the movie, it comes and goes so fast.
If you're an American, a British actor, and you have not yet been in any American movies, and you're listening to this podcast, choose a fucking state. Just go, my character is from Minnesota.
Instead of American accent?
But they're just like, it's a grand old... Yeah, it's like, they always just sort of talk like this, because this is how Americans talk,
Americans,
man. Pick one. In New York State, fucking California, they all sound different.
Minnesota, Florida, Texas,
just
the East Coast,
choose a fucking state.
The middle of the country. There's different accents all over the place there. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So Ray Fiennes, he's driving around, and the notes I have here is girls beating up a Santa Claus. Ray Fiennes doesn't even notice.
Well, because there's so much anarchy going on in the streets, and if you notice, there's way more police than there are actual people destroying things. Which is bizarre.
Bizarre that they can't control better. But we're not denying this happens in real life, but it's very exaggerated.
It's very exaggerated.
Okay, all I'm saying is
like full anarchy all the time.
We will get to the crucial plot element that I'm talking about. The inherent racism of the police department comes into play with blah 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 blah.
With Jericho 1.
Yeah,
it's excused away though, but it's just too bad.
I don't.
It was. I thought so at the end too, because they were ostracized by everybody else.
It seemed to be a full indictment of the entire LA police force. This movie, which has since been, but then again, maybe it makes sense that maybe But I'm losing my train of thought here. But the movie concludes on a note of like, oh, it's just two bad cops. The system's not that.
Well, but I don't think it does.
Well, these cops were so bad. I'm a big Vincent D'Onofrio fan.
And William Fichtner.
And William Fichtner, yeah.
The second you see William Fichtner, you're like, well, this isn't gonna go well.
He was good, but he was over D'Onofrio was the bad guy, the two cops. He was the main bad guy. But the thing is, like, it's so one note. He's just so angry and evil all the time.
If you were getting married and William Fichtner was in your wedding party and you saw him walk in, you'd go, people are going to die at my wedding.
Yeah, this is
like
going to go well.
Everything William Fichtner is attached to is, okay, so why do I have 1995 Cops Are Bad Guys, Vincent D'Onofrio, William Fichtner?
Wrong year. But yeah.
Juliette Lewis equals Faith. Very obvious name.
Yeah. Actually, no. This was the other part that I really liked was the first introduction to Juliette Lewis's character when her and he's put the virtual headset on.
Oh, and
he's playing the tape or whatever.
Yeah.
Of the time they're roller skating.
So Ray Fiennes is this. Okay, we should clarify this. Ray Fiennes used to be a cop. We never hear about the story about how he lost his badge.
Because you know why? Because there wasn't enough running time for them to tell that story.
I think there's plenty of running time.
Well, the movie's 2.5 fucking hours.
We could have had less concert footage of Juliette Lewis's shitty music.
Oh right, there's lots of that.
One musical number would have been enough.
Yeah, actually, it wasn't bad music, but
it wasn't that bad. But it didn't justify two numbers.
It was pretty bad.
This movie was super overlong.
So, anyways, we learned that Ray Fiennes is this. Right now, he's a dealer. He's dealing in what do they call it, like wire tripping or something?
Yeah, it's when you wear so someone else has an experience and you have their experience.
Yeah. So people put these weird helmets on and then they go and rob a bank or they fuck or they
They walk on the beach. There's a really
or
nice
they jerk
scene.
off, and then that's the least popular one. Is just some guy jerking off, a fat guy jerking off.
Yeah, there was a really nice scene of a guy who's in a wheelchair with no legs, and they put it on the thing on him and they played the tape. So somebody walking through the water, running, and he brought him to tears because he could never walk
feeling the
again.
water on his feet.
Yeah, I know that was pretty cool.
So Ray Fiennes is this dealer, and for some reason this technology has been it's incredible, but it's been made black market for whatever reason in the future. Again, this movie came out in 95. The future is only 5 years.
4 years.
It's
like ambitious.
I guess, yeah.
It's like
they were betting high stakes on those short-lived virtual reality cafes that were everywhere.
Was that a thing back
there
in
were
the
a bunch
90s?
of them. There were 2 that opened up to mega hype in Montreal, but they didn't last long.
So if you went to like an actual one in 1995, what would you experience? Would it be?
Well, you get a cup of coffee, and
then read the paper.
And I don't even know.
Did you ever go?
No, I never went.
I just wonder what like the virtual reality experience would be in 1995 because the technology is not really there.
It'd be like.
Would it be like playing Pong but in someone else's mind?
It's like you are Bill Clinton. Getting a
blowjob in the Oval Office. I guess that'd be okay.
I love what virtual reality. Because this movie, and it's not my pairing, but through this whole movie, all I could think of was the Lawnmower Man, and how far movies had come. Because in the Lawnmower Man, which was like maybe 3 years before this, it was still all computer graphics.
Yeah, which were really cheesy.
And with this, it's like first.
Well, what about Brainstorm? Brainstorm was 82, wasn't it? It was earlier. It was way earlier than that.
And that's also not my pairing.
No, it's not my pairing either. But
not mine.
But it's basically almost kind of the same story, with this, the virtual reality, and then it wasn't.
No, it's not quite the same story because in Brainstorm it's contained within the.
And then the army wants to take.
But in this, it's on the streets, and I prefer this being on the streets. So okay,
I know you like the streets.
Ray Fiennes is a disgraced cop who's now selling wire trips.
Right.
And he's in love with his ex-girlfriend, who's now a rock star, played by Juliette Lewis.
Never really explain why they broke up, because there's that great scene, which is one of my other favorite scenes in the movie, is when they have a really nice day. They're out roller skating or whatever, and she's really sexy, and they're having fun, and they go back, and that Bob Marley tune is playing. It was just a really nice, romantic, fun, awesome. I thought it was a great scene.
Yeah, and she dumped him for. Then she dumped him for the guy with the raspy voice from The Crow.
That's right. Yeah, I can never remember that guy's name, but if he's in a movie, he's always evil.
You know who knows his name? Nick. Nick knows his name.
Nick Strange.
Yep, Nick Strange, who is employed here, actually knows his name and knows all the movies. In fact, Nick Strange.
Michael Wincott.
Holy shit! You just
there
channeled.
You go.
You just channeled Nick.
Nick, that's why I'm on a total wave.
And then Nick pointed out that Michael Wincott is in talk radio, and he's the peace sells, but who's buying? Peace sells, but who's buying? You know that guy?
No.
Have you ever seen talk radio?
Yes.
Yeah, he's the crazy fucking rocker that comes in the studio. Is that the one?
Yeah, you might as well go grab me one too. Then,
so. Ray Fiennes is still in love with his ex-girlfriend, played by Juliette Lewis. Oh, Jesus
you don't want that one?
Why are you whispering?
What's the
other? The fucking darker brown one or the lighter brown? Pale ale?
No, not pale ale.
All right.
There's Pilsners and IPAs in there. There you go.
I know. Fucking wuss.
There you go. Running the gamut.
Anyways, So while he's going about doing his dealings to various bars, where he's going around taking loser businessmen saying that's what it feels like to be a fucking 18-year-old woman having a shower, and which is I love all of this.
Me too, because the possibilities are fucking endless with this.
I would love to be an 18-year-old woman having a shower.
Just to have that experience would be because you'll never have it. And
the experience, I honestly, if I could have the opportunity, as shown in this movie, would be standing on the peak of Everest. Really, yeah.
Yeah, but you can't.
The zone.
I guess.
We could talk for 2 hours about what. Put on a fucking cat. I'd love to be like a cat for 10 minutes. Wouldn't that be weird? just having a bath.
Put it on a cat.
Why not? Or a dog. Put on a horse. Maybe put on a horse and have it run around. Like put on a fucking whale.
I was actually thinking I would like to put it on a 12-year-old watching Return of the Jedi for the first time.
Yeah, anything. There's these possibilities are fucking.
But
endless.
now I'm thinking.
Maybe not Return of the Jedi.
I'm thinking we should get someone to take a cat to the top of Everest and show it Return of the Jedi.
Perfect. Then we can all live out our fantasies.
It would be a cat watching Return of the Jedi at the top of Everest,
and then licking his.
Oh my god, how amazing
asshole.
would that be?
It'd be
Looking at that. So Ray Fiennes is making the rounds as a fucking thought dealer or whatever.
Thought dealer.
And in comes Tom Sizemore.
With the worst fucking wig. Oh my god.
And immediately when I saw this film, and it's kind of like, I don't know if you want to call this like real life foreshadow, whatever. Immediately, as soon as he walked in the scene, I realized it was Tom Sizemore. I was like, God damn, I hope that wig gets ripped off. That's all I want to see. I want someone to yank that as a wig, and I really want to see it fly off.
It is the worst wig, I think, in the history of movies.
It was fucking getting wiggy with it.
It was pretty
also,
awesome.
it was so ludicrous. You know what the wig reminded me of is, have you guys seen Children of Men?
Yes. Amazing film.
It was like Michael Caine's hair in Children of Men.
Did he have wiggy hair?
Oh, he has like the longest, like...
That's right,
he
did.
The most Roger Daltrey fucking hair.
He was a hippie then in the movie.
But yeah, so, okay, first of all, it's Tom Sizemore, so obviously the bad guy.
Another bad guy. This movie's chock full of stock bad guys.
There's only one movie where Tom Sizemore wasn't the bad guy, and that was Saving Private Ryan.
Right.
It's the only movie I can think of where he wasn't the bad guy.
He was just a regular
Passenger 57 he was in, but he was on the ground the whole time, so it doesn't fucking count. The second you see Tom's fucking Sizemore, you're like, and this is like,
it's trouble. It's gonna be trouble.
He had to be a creep in real life because he beat his girlfriends and all that, right?
In real life?
Oh, Tom Sizemore was a fucking horrible person. This is way before Me Too. Is Tom Sizemore's career was fucking ruined because he was like a fucking total girlfriend beater.
What an asshole!
So the second you see Tom Sizemore, you're like,
yeah,
he's for sure the fucking bad guy.
But how, like, this movie is full of bad guys. You've got Michael Wincott, you've got Vincent D'Onofrio, Willem Fincher, and now Tom Sizemore to add to your cacophony of bad guys.
Not Fincher,
Fichtner.
Yeah. Oh, and then also Juliette Lewis. She turns out to be a bad guy.
Yeah, she did turn out to be a bad guy, but like her character was so underdeveloped.
Although I never knew why she was a bad guy.
There was no
there's a moment when she saves Ray Fiennes where I'm like, I thought she was a bad guy.
When this got to the end, and I was like, what? And it was all the big reveals and stuff happened.
Anyway, and also
like, that relationship totally got on my nerves.
Tom Sizemore's character's name is Max Felcher.
Really? Max Felcher. Oh, that's a terrible name.
Max. So his girlfriend.
Did they not know what
his girlfriend is called Faith because he loses faith.
Right.
And his best friend is Max
Felcher. His best friend is a piece of shit asshole.
Yeah.
With a bad wig. Because I don't think. Well, I don't know if I'm sure people. Yeah. There's.
And then you meet Angela Bassett's character.
She's always angry. She's
badass.
Badass.
What was her name again?
Mace.
We've also been
nickname on Mason.
But we've also been introduced to Jericho 1 at this point.
The rapper.
Who is the rapper, which, you know, that name...
That is the whitest rapper name. Like, obviously, James Cameron came up with Jericho 1.
I can't say how much I hate the name Jericho, because it shows up in movies, and it's always somebody that's...
It's a symbol.
It's a symbol. It's a symbolic name. And it's such bullshit. You know, because they're not a character. Now they're, like, as you said, a symbol. And no, it's like, why did just anything else but that, you know?
My favorite bogus name in the movie is Rocky V, Union Kane. He's a boxer named Union Kane.
Yeah. That's all.
That movie also has Tommy the Machine Gun, played by
right.
Tommy the Duke.
All of these names, it's always two syllables. One syllable, especially in Star Wars. If you watch a lot of it's always like the last name is like a one syllable name to give it some sort of gravitas or something.
Kind of like Peter Criss.
Drummer from Kiss for the young kids who are listening that don't know who we're talking about.
Who? Jericho 1?
No, Peter Criss.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you missed a little bit there.
Oh, it's Alex. You're the one who's always talking about how Peter Criss had the biggest... Oh, no, sorry. It's my friend Greg. My friend Greg is always going on about...
Peter Criss, and he had a big, personality?
A big star. No, Peter Criss. Okay, you know when Kiss did the fucking whole everybody writes their own album?
Oh, I had all those albums. Ace Frehley was the only good one.
Or is it Ace Frehley who wrote New York's?
He didn't write it, though.
Oh.
New York Groove was a big hit for him. It was written by a guy named Glenn Ballard. Who used to be with...
How do you know this shit?
Glenn Ballard, who was with the Argent, hold your head up.
Right.
Boy, he wrote it.
Oh.
And,
which is Back in the New York Groove.
Well, whatever the case...
Yeah, he wrote Back in the New York. He may be co-credited Frehley because he may have thrown in a few oohs and ahs.
Maybe some hot licks.
But it's a Glenn Ballard song. God Gave Rock and Roll to You was also written by that Glenn Ballard.
Yeah.
I was a huge Kiss fan back in the day.
Do that
it was my very first concert.
We need a copy of that film for the shop. Kiss Meets the
Fan of the Park.
You know how terrible it is, right?
I know. I owned it on VHS.
I've got a VHS copy that I will lend at the shop.
How did you get that?
I bought it at the garage sale.
Are you sure? Because I think I may have lent it to you and forgot about it.
No, you didn't lend it to me.
I can't
but
find
I don't have mine anymore.
Nice try,
and you have one. It says Alex Chisholm on the cover of it.
I ordered it Alex from Videomatica. 12.
Yeah.
I ordered it in the 90s from Videomatica.
So anyway, Angela Bassett is like his best friend who's in love with him.
Right.
And they go to this fucking nightclub, and Bad Guy from The Crow is what I've written, and it's Juliette Lewis singing shitty music.
No, I like the first song.
I like the first song too. I thought it had some good rock and roll.
I didn't mind either song. I just thought, first of all, this film was way too long, and one musical number was enough.
And you don't even need a whole song.
I know,
like a snippet, like maybe 30 seconds, maybe a minute.
Yeah. But no, she has it. I like her singing voice, and I didn't mind the songs.
But what was her band? What was her band? It was Juliette Lewis and it wasn't the Jicks. It was something similar to that. That's Stephen Malkmus and the Jicks, but
Juliette Lewis and
the Hicks, the Dicks, the Wicks,
and the
Schmicks. It was something like that, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah. Sticks.
That's it.
They did Mr. Roboto.
Yeah.
But
the thing is, she has good stage presence, and she's got a pretty good voice. So she was doing her singing. I have to assume she's doing her singing in the movie.
Yeah, I assume so. But yeah, no, I liked it. It was just too long, those scenes.
Yeah, well, everything about the movie was too long.
She's really good at singing one note and crouching and grinding.
Kind of like you.
Yeah,
damn straight.
That's all you do.
You've seen me at karaoke.
That's all you do is crouch and grind. Isn't that your nickname?
That's right.
Hey, crouch and grind.
All right,
give me another beer.
It's just fine. I'm just gonna cut all this shit out.
No, you're not.
Have a 10-minute New Year's episode.
No, I now have written here. Why is the city on fire? Like everything, everywhere you go.
I'm telling you, the '90s. This movie is the most '90s movie ever. Fucking The Crow. Everything's on fire. Fucking everything's always on fire and dark. And by the way, why does everything happen at night? Does this movie take place in one night?
Yeah, no, it's on New Year's Eve.
No, it's 2 days. It starts on the...
Does it?
Well, they definitely show the 30th at one point. I think it starts on the 29th.
Because that would be a lot to happen in one night.
In like a 6-hour
No, it's like 48 hours, the final 48 hours.
That's a good movie.
It's no more than 3 days.
Okay. Yeah. That would be
great. If it had been in 48 hours and they had given like a cameo to either Nick Nolte or Eddie Murphy, it would have made this film much better.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing: is I didn't write any of the plot. I just wrote my take on what this movie was trying to get across.
Well, I have written here 1 hour in, the plot starts. Like you're about an hour into the movie before there's actually sort of a plot with some there's actually there's bad guys trying to do they murdered Jericho one for their nefarious purpose.
What's weird is that isn't actually part of the plot.
It's not?
No.
Well, why is that even in it? Is this James Cameron back in the day just writing all of his thoughts down and making some?
Because there are two of these weird videos that you can watch that are crucial to the story. One is the Jericho 1 murder by the white cops.
Right.
Where the witness...
And
that's a fucking great scene, by the way.
It was a pretty good scene.
Where like the fan, she's wearing the helmet, so she's experiencing everything, and they get pulled over by the cops. What kind of dumbass fucking cop is going to fucking shoot the most famous rap star in the world in front of a witness wearing one of these fucking helmets?
She didn't know... He didn't know he was...
Visible
she was... Sorry,
it was under her hair.
Well, whatever. It was still pretty, They were maybe 100 yards from the highway. If you're going to murder a rap star, you take him to a barn or something.
Maybe he didn't know who he was.
He knew exactly who he was.
He figured it out.
Right.
No. He actually makes a point. He says
these guys are psychos. Because
also the rapper says he's going to humiliate him in one of his songs.
When Jericho 1 gets pulled over, and the cops are like armed and all this shit, and then Jericho 1 starts like fucking dancing around.
You got to figure you've been pulled over. You're under a bridge somewhere. There's nobody around. You got these two psycho like white cops. You're a black dude.
Yeah.
You don't be taunting them.
Even if, and they had established this earlier, Jericho 1 had done this big speech, Malcolm X style, to fucking all the black people in the world.
Yeah.
Even if you're coming off a high on that, it was ludicrous. Yeah. The level of mockery that this guy was.
Ludicrous.
It was Jericho 1. It wasn't ludicrous.
Alex was a bit quicker.
Yeah, I know. I think we've done that. I think that joke has come out like 3 or 4 times in our podcast with ludicrous.
I don't think it has.
I think it has.
I don't recall.
I do.
I don't even know.
I don't remember. I don't
recall. I've never heard of ludicrous. No, but so Jericho 1 is so preposterous. Is that a rapper? Preposterous?
Oh, there should be.
Yeah.
If I was a rapper, I'd be called preposterous.
you would.
The hippopotamus.
By the audience. The hippopotamus?
That's right, hippopotamus.
I got a gun to my head, and I'm going to go hey, I'm going to write a rap song about how I fucked your wife and shit. It's maybe not so much with the fucking the cop's wife. Surprise. Vincent D'Onofrio shoots Jericho 1. And the walls of Jericho came falling down. And then the cops fucking shoot everybody except for, what's her name, who's a friend of Juliette Lewis?
Yeah, she's
Iris.
Iris.
Yeah.
And she
Iris! The one who saw.
Yeah. Everything's so on the nose.
Does every name, including Max Felcher? So Max Felcher.
So he just
no way that's an accident.
If everything's on the nose, so we just assume that Max Felcher has
felched more than anyone else.
Exactly. Just changed my name to Felcher.
And this scene I really love. Actually, it's probably my favorite scene in the whole movie, where it's her point of view.
Her being Iris.
Iris.
In the car,
it's Iris's point of view, and she's running away from William Fichtner and D'Onofrio, and she's running through the fucking. It's my favorite thing in a movie is when there's a train coming. And
I love trains.
You have to get past the train.
Yeah.
To block you from the person who's chasing you, because it would never actually happen in the real world, but in the movies, it's really exciting.
Because it always separates you from the bad guys, and you always escape.
And you just get even if the train is only like 3 cars long.
Yeah, exactly. It's just an engine and a caboose.
What? No, but in this case, it's like. I was 100% on board. I was I got really excited, and she runs across the tracks, and it's and they're shooting through the fucking train. Yeah, it's terrifying and very exciting. So then we get back to Ray Fiennes.
Yeah, which he's kind of disappeared for a while, but I have written here. His name's Lenny.
Yeah,
Lenny is a clueless dick. He's so removed, and he has no idea what's like. It's really hard to have any empathy for this guy or be on board with his character.
Yeah, why is he the street smart motherfucker?
Yeah, no, he was.
Because at one point he's like, "This is what I do," and then
I would have much preferred it centered on from the point of view of Angela Bassett's character.
Yeah, she was the most
he would have been
character.
like a scraggly guy tagging along,
or Tom Sizemore's wig. I wish it was told from the wig's point of view.
Wig's point of view, that makes sense. Yeah.
That would have been interesting.
For some reason, I've written
strange wigs. I would have called it.
This movie has a similar plot to Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Really?
And I don't think I'm right.
I don't think you're right at all. Actually,
I don't think it's even remotely similar.
No, it's no.
No! It's because he's like a washed-up drunk and. Never mind.
He looked like Bradley Cooper in A Star Is Born.
It's because it's a neo noir. I think that's why I wrote the Roger Rabbit thing is because Strange Days.
This isn't much of a noir.
That's totally a noir.
No, it's not.
It attempts it all the way.
You have the femme fatale.
Who's the femme fatale in this?
Juliette Lewis.
But she's barely in it. She's in it for like 3 scenes.
Well, that's the thing.
She has no motivation.
I'm just going to comment really early on. Like, this movie's full of...
Early on, we've been recording for an hour.
This movie is full of great ideas and really good intentions. but it's a mess.
Yeah, it's a total
Something
mess.
got lost in the editing, but
probably lots of cocaine, I'm guessing. Yeah. But right now.
Yeah.
Something got lost, but it's such a mess, and I feel like as for the virtual reality, it's not in it nearly enough to make it really. It could have just been, you could have had the same thriller just around video camera technology. It is video camera technology.
We didn't need all this other anarchy in the streets. We didn't need all this other plot coming out of nowhere. All these other characters.
I really enjoyed this movie this time around.
Right.
But Alex just pinpointed something that never occurred to me is they talk about this technology that is capable of bringing you into the realm of what it means to live someone else's life for 20 minutes, and then they do absolutely nothing with it.
It's such a jumbled... this film, as far as I'm concerned, a film like this, to not have its climax rooted in that is such a waste.
Yeah. I've ever seen a movie called it's called Dreamscape.
Yeah.
With Dennis Quaid.
Oh, can we do that?
Which is really
I've
cool.
actually never seen it.
It's a really cool film, and it ends in the dreamscape. It's about
it's
5 or 10 times.
It's Dennis Quaid and the bad guy from the Warriors.
Right.
He's also in Commando. This messianic hip hop star was as undeveloped as the virtual reality. I respected the ground this film tried to cover and stuff,
but it was too much.
But it didn't really explore any of those enough. Yeah. Either that, or with its running time, you could have tightened that up into almost like a tabloid level edited, completely thrilling movie.
Yeah. I think you could have cut an hour out of this fucking movie, and
I would have made it more the point of view from Angela Bassett.
Yeah.
But, everyone's great in this movie. Don't get me wrong.
No,
I'm a fan of all the actors in it, even Sizemore, who has, spotty...
Oh, Sizemore was good in
stuff. And he's got that ridiculous wig. And Bassett and Fiennes are always excellent actors. But the movie juggled too much. What made it especially frustrating was the film was so long. It felt padded with a lot of extra stuff. And it's like, just focus on these issues.
See, I didn't feel like it was that long. I'm just not sure what it was trying to say, The technology was at the climax.
In there. It was a MacGuffin.
Yeah, you're right.
It was a total MacGuffin. They should have had it as the climax.
Even the guy from the Crow, whose name I can never remember.
I guess there's only so much at this low level, this illicit level that these videos are made that they could capture. But I don't know. The experiences didn't seem particularly mind-blowing.
Are you not capable of opening a fridge?
Not when you're standing in front of it.
Jesus fucking Christ.
You're standing in front of it there, Mr. Dorstop.
Fucking suck that down and shut up. Okay,
suck that down and shut up.
When
you know that the podcast is devolving.
That should be the new title of the podcast.
Shut down and shut up. Is this the sound of Alex drinking beer?
It's just the sound of your voice.
No, Alex told me that his friends listen to podcasts and they hate me. They like you.
Let's not say that.
Awesome.
Of course they like one guy
I'm the most likable guy.
No,
you. They like
you.
That's what I'm saying.
They hate me.
I know they like.
No,
me.
They don't hate you. And first of all, there's no they. There's one friend who commented, and he actually has grown to like Dylan. But he said he was commenting in general on the podcast,
right?
And he said, at first I couldn't stand that Dylan guy, but now I've gotten used to him.
Just like you did.
He's just he's a movie viewer, just like us.
Everyone who's ever fucking grown to love me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're a bit of a cold shower at the beginning, and then the water gets warm.
Look, I'm trying to win over all the people of Dartmouth.
All 9 of them?
They are the linchpin to our global success.
Really, eh? So it all starts in Dartmouth?
If we can get all of Dartmouth enjoying this podcast, then Tokyo is next.
Exactly. And then we'll be broadcasting from the moon. Back to the movie.
Okay.
I don't remember where we are in the movie.
I guess, long story short, this movie is just a run-of-the-mill, boring fucking ass. Tom Sizemore is the bad guy.
Yeah.
Even in 95,
by the way,
when I saw it, I was like, Tom Sizemore is obviously the fucking bad guy.
By the way, Tom Sizemore, at the end of this movie, he's found out to be something he's not, and then he gives this full, ridiculous Scooby-Doo length confession. I was just waiting for it. I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you.
You meddling kid.
Pull the mask off.
Yeah.
It was the most
And
we didn't need the it was almost like a short list of all the things that James Cameron didn't get to film.
Yeah.
This is all this stuff that the executives wouldn't let me include in the movie. I'll just extrapolate.
When Ray Fiennes when he's got the drop on Ray Fiennes, Max Felcher, and Ray Fiennes, Lenny says, why'd you do it or whatever. Yeah. Max Felcher even says, I probably shouldn't tell you this, but it's just too good not to tell you. And it's like
very revealing too. For me, it just reeked of James Cameron's ego, like to do on a grand.
I got to the point where I even wrote, I'm not sure what's going on anymore in this movie, and then because he turns into like a psycho rapist.
Oh yeah.
Which was so unpleasant and was so unnecessary in this fucking.
There was that snuff. Completely.
It was so garbage, you know.
Well,
I hated it.
I found it horrifying.
Yeah, it was horrifying.
The idea of having someone put a device in your head that
while you rape and murder somebody.
No. That makes you feel what they're feeling while they rape and murder you.
That's right. But still,
I gotta give him credit for originality on that one, because that is really, really horrifying.
It is really horrifying, but at the same time, would have worked maybe in a flat-out horror movie. But the fact that a character, like it's later revealed, spoiler, to be Mr. Tom Sizemore.
It was obviously Tom Sizemore.
Yeah, but I didn't know it was. I've seen the movie before. I didn't know it was him until.
Are you kidding?
I never pick up on these fucking things. Dude.
It's always Tom Sizemore.
but Tom should have been called.
But the thing,
that missing ship, that missing airplane. Tom Sizemore.
The 5 ones that disappeared in the breeding room.
Michael Jackson died. Tom Sizemore.
Prince?
Yeah, Prince killed Tom Sizemore. Prince actually was Tom
Sizemore. No, the other way around.
Whatever. Sorry, Alex. Is it about Tom Sizemore?
Is there any beer left in the fridge?
Yeah, of course there is.
I lost my train of thought.
Here, like, why would anyone even like Lenny? His character just becomes so unlikable as it goes on.
That was the other thing, too. And by the way, Angela Bass said he was kind to her son at one point, and almost like supposed to be an emotional weight in the movie that she is a child and stuff, but you barely see the kid, too.
And with such a long running time. And
it wasn't that long.
It was 2 hours and 35 minutes.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was. So,
there's no way that fucking Strange Days was 2 hours and 35 minutes.
It is. Because I kept pushing the button to tell me how much time is left. 2 hours and 35 minutes
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
No. 2 hours and 35.
Yeah.
That's like Lawrence of Arabia. Yeah, Come
on. That's what I'm saying. It's like one of the Lord of the Rings.
Probably like...
It doesn't... Okay, listen. We can agree to disagree.
I've got the cover here.
But you can't...
I'm having some hard time seeing...
Because you took your glasses off.
It was 2 hours and... Oh, wait. That's the aspect ratio. Actually, it's 2
hours and 35 minutes.
That's the aspect ratio, you fucking moron.
No. Well, when I'm watching the DVD, it doesn't give me the aspect ratio on the DVD.
Where the hell is the fucking time on this? Aspect ratio 235.
Let me look it up on my phone here. Sorry, Dylan, you're going to have to do some editing here. Here we go. Right here. What does that say? What's the running time on that? And 25 minutes. Right, so I was off by 10 minutes.
You were wrong.
I was way wrong.
The rape thing is what I want to talk about. Because
that scene, it was like... That would have worked better if it was in an all-out horror film.
Yeah, I agree.
It was a level of nastiness not required by the story.
I think it was... and that was the point where I hated to do it, but I gave up on the film. Because I was really enjoying it to that point. I'm so sick of seeing it. It's just like, when do we stop with the voyeurism? Bad guys raping women as a form of... It's not crucial to the plot. Why would you include that as a detail?
That's your hinge for the plot. You can maybe come up with something different.
The thing for me was the revelation as the Tom Sizemore character being the perpetrator of that didn't really work at all, because it's almost like, I just decided to do it and have fun with it. It was like, I thought the film, when that moment happened in the movie, of course it's totally disturbing, it disturbed me, but it didn't ruin the film for me, because I thought it might really reach a lower level in the terms of trying to be
a
statement on like, wow, like virtual reality, how far out are you really going to go with this technology or whatever, but it just sort of returns to a normal action tone after that. And Tom Sizemore is very matter of fact. When it's revealed it's him, it's almost like, but I don't buy that someone would just kind of do that.
I don't buy that. I don't buy that Juliette Lewis would be with this guy knowing what he's doing and be okay with it. Because all of a sudden she turns like a psycho.
And also they set up Lenny to take the fall for murdering raspy voice guy from the Crow.
It was almost like
he was
that
sort of the
snuff
big
video
bad.
scene would have. It was more in place with like a film like Seven or something like this.
Yeah, which is a horror film.
Yeah, of course.
And then there's a whole thing about how people get their brains fried if feedback happens while they're.
And how long does it affect them for? Because Tom Sizemore shouts out an answer, but I couldn't make it out.
You know, just like I was at the point like just stop throwing more ideas into this that go nowhere. Just let's tighten your script. Like, just is this like your first draft of this?
That's
movie?
what it felt like. Yeah.
Now that I'm looking at this movie, I actually think it would work as a video game. Like, no, seriously,
video game.
No, seriously, like if it wasn't a movie, but like one of those like those video games where you're like walking around as a detective and you're trying to solve.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know. Like in the last 10 or 15 years, they have these video games where they're very immersive. And it's not so much about like shooting and fighting, but it's actually more about the movie.
The thing is, I think there's a good movie in here, but there's too many ideas going on. You've got the virtual reality thing. You've got the black market virtual reality thing. You've got chaos in the streets. You've got the end of the 1990s. There's too much going on, and
then you double down with Rodney King, where it's like a couple of white cops kill a black rap star,
and then the whole resolution at the end when the whole crowd's there, and the cops or the commissioner shows up and arrest these men.
No, because I really started to like this movie when Angela
2 hours in.
No, when Angela Bassett starts fighting the William Fichtner and
she's
right.
She's always awesome.
She's a black woman, and I'm like,
what?
And I'm like, oh, I see what's going to happen is all of the cops are going to fucking beat the fuck out of Angela Bassett on New Year's Eve.
Right.
And it's going to start a riot or something. I was like, finally something political is actually happening in this movie. And then what happens is the cops are all like, you leave that black woman alone.
Yeah. Which is...
And then to have the chief of police come
all of a sudden, out of nowhere... Arrest these men!
He had suddenly watched, she passed him a copy earlier, and he refused to watch it, but I guess
and on top of it, he is like the main bad guy from RoboCop. Yeah. So I'm like...
Was it the main bad guy? Like,
I can't remember now.
What's his name?
I don't fucking know.
I right in the tip of my brain. But yeah, I don't.
He's the one who RoboCop fucking shoots and he falls out the window. He's like, oh.
I don't think it is. But anyway,
it's not. The main bad guy I remember from RoboCop is Red from that 70s.
No. Oh, are you fucking kidding?
But anyway,
it's not Bitches Leave. It's the guy who owns the company.
Fair enough.
Which is, but
I just want to get back to Strange Days.
Right. Ronnie James or Ronnie something.
This really irritated me.
Ronnie Dangerfield.
This really irritated me because no one can deny that the systemic racism, especially in the LAPD, and
which still goes on today.
Of course it does, but this film sums it up as like just two bad apples, a couple of bad apples.
Now,
I would have preferred if there was like a progressive black police chief or something.
I agree. This movie does ultimately sum it up as like a couple of bad apples.
Yeah.
Which makes it even more confusing that throughout the movie you have these cop tanks driving around.
Exactly, on their behalf.
Nothing ever comes of that.
I know, and also the other thing annoying too is that way too much in each scene, like because the cops, them being arrested at the end was enough.
Well,
but then you have to have one guy kill himself, and the other guy go on a rampage and shoot. Like it just.
Yeah.
Again, the film was...
If you look at it, like those two characters actually didn't even need to be in the picture. Is James Cameron, 17 years old, sitting in his underwear, like smoking weed in his basement, writing this thing.
Halfway through this movie, I got confused. Because there were two, what do you call it? Like an element in a film that progresses the plot, that moves it along.
Like a plot point? Or?
Not plot point, but a plot, like what pushes the plot.
Right, sure.
What do you call that?
Push plot.
Fine, push plot. There were two push plots. It's not a real word.
I'm saying push plot.
One push plot was Jericho 1 getting his brains blown out and Iris witnessing it. And that's all you need.
Yeah.
That makes for a super good exciting movie.
That was an hour into the movie.
But then they had to go and add a second push plot, which was horrible rapist guy who puts thing on your head when he fucks you and then slits your throat.
And for some reason is dating Julia Lewis now.
Yeah.
Which made no sense.
Yeah.
Like her character was such... It had potential at the beginning, you know?
That was also true. How many times did we need to see Ray Fiennes beg her to come back to him? It was pathetic.
11.
One scene would have been enough, but it was so pathetic that he kept going back.
I know.
He kept setting him up in convoluted circumstances time and time again to beg her back.
It made him more unlikable as the film went on because he was this pathetic loser that just couldn't get over the fact that she didn't want to be with him anymore.
And she dies, doesn't she?
She gets arrested. She gets arrested.
Inexplicably.
That's right. Yeah, what was she arrested for?
And then there's that awful ending where fucking, the black lady, Angela Bassett.
The black lady that was in the movie.
Yeah, she was a whatever. Fucking he's like, Ray Fiennes is like, don't worry, they're just gonna take you downtown and like ask you some questions.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
And then he just runs up to her car and opens the door of a cop car like it's not locked or anything, and kisses her on the lips.
Oh God! Because they realized they were in love.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe
it would have been simple.
Or there's an unsolved snuff level killing, but the movie.
Yeah, give me a horror movie or
there's 2 or 3 movies going on here all at the same time.
That's the problem with it. Yeah.
But anyways, so I think we're probably all in agreement on how we feel about this.
Although I will say this, the movie is not without merit.
Nope.
Oh, of course not.
One thing I wrote is
merit.
This movie is not without merit. That's what I wrote. Okay, well, I must.
You live in Merritt, don't you?
Yeah, that's right.
He's just there for the
every
country music festival.
It's a 3.5 hour drive every time.
He wears a cowboy hat and cowboy boots and nothing else.
The movie's not particularly deep, but I thought the fight scenes and the action scenes were really good. I thought the first person perspective scenes were all excellent. Mm-hmm. Even the horrible rapey ones were really well done.
It was effective.
Yeah, I said like Point Break. Well,
it's not like Point Break at all.
No! Can we talk about Lenny's ties?
Sure.
They tried to develop.
I don't remember Lenny's ties.
That is the lamest fucking thing about this movie is that Tom Sizemore keeps making fun of Lenny's ties.
Okay.
Like, tie you're wearing,
Yes, I don't.
And we're supposed to believe that Lenny is this like fashion, like he's so stylish, but he always looks like shit and he's sweaty. He sleeps on the couch.
He's a sleazy drug
lord. And they do a Die Hard ending where fucking Tom Sizemore is holding on to one of Lenny's ties.
Oh, is that what happened?
Well, not only was it Die Hardish, it reminded me more.
That's right. He cuts the tie.
But what it reminded me of, he does cut the tie, because he pulls the knife out of his back.
Right.
Oh, he pulls the knife out of his back.
That's right. He stabbed in the back, so he pulls out and cuts the tie.
But that scene reminded me, I didn't think Die Hard until you saw him actually fall, but I thought it was Spy Who Loved Me, because there's a scene where that bald henchman of the baddie
which is a great
amazing
great Bond film.
And Roger Moore snatches his tie away. And it also made me think of John Huston at the climax of Winter Kills, an excellent thriller.
That is really good.
A fall to the death, similar to Die Hard.
I think we should edit together all the movies that have people grabbing onto ties and then dying, falling off from a great height.
We could show also, or not a great height, but even just
do they have to be holding onto a tie, or is it just falling?
No, it's just a tie.
Because Frenzy, the Alfred Hitchcock movie,
like 15, 20.
The Alfred Hitchcock movie Frenzy is about a necktie strangler.
There you go.
That counts.
No, it doesn't count.
Kind of counts.
Yeah. Through this whole movie, Lenny goes to these nightclubs. And I think he looks like shit.
And the thing is, all these nightclubs hard to get into, but he just waltzes right in there.
No,
the sleazy
and
guy in the
people keep commenting on how stylish he is. They're like, "Ooh, Lenny, you're such a." And then he goes home and he changes his shirt, and I think Angela Bassett is like, "Oh, because you're always trying to look good, aren't you, Lenny?" But when have we ever seen Lenny look good?
But he was
you know what
future
he actually
style.
says, and what's sad is he says a couple of times, it's Armani, and it's like you can find Armani blazers in any Salvation Army for $7.99. And one other thing, another dead end joke in this movie that goes nowhere is the stupid fake Rolex thing.
Oh, I know.
I know.
He's constantly serving
again
up fake
too
Rolexes.
many ideas.
It's like an Adam Sandler movie. It's just like
this would have worked better as you know what they should have done. What I think would have made this a truly great film.
Not made it?
Just not made it at all.
No. Separate all the storylines, but edit it with different characters, and then have it like an anthology film,
or maybe a TV
set
series.
on New Year's. That too, miniseries with Richard Chamberlain, of course.
Well, because he was a '70s icon. Well, this is '90s. Richard Chamberlain would have been old then. So.
I know that, but we're talking miniseries.
The only Richard Chamberlain,
Richard Chamberlain.
Does anybody remember the '80s version
Shogun?
of the Bourne Identity?
No.
Richard Chamberlain was the original Jason
Really?
Bourne.
He wrote the original Matt Damon.
They remade Night of the Hunter with Richard Chamberlain.
Really?
I didn't see it, but I heard
why would they remake that?
Yeah, Alex just pretended like he had a cock going into his mouth.
Was that a cock?
No, I did not.
And he had a big smile on his face while he was doing it.
And if I did, there would have been nothing wrong with it. But that's my 90s Seinfeld reference. Not that there's anything wrong with it.
Not that there's anything wrong with it.
But we got to wrap this up in 5 fucking minutes. It's not going to
let's wrap
Does
this
it
up.
hold up? I guess
Mr.
it's my
Beasley.
pick, so I go first. This movie, although flawed, is, believe it or not, guys, better than I remember it being. I enjoyed it a lot more than I did when I saw it in like 95 or 96. I think it's a pretty entertaining film, if only for the special effectsy action sequences.
Well, I certainly wouldn't list it high on my list of recommendations. It's sort of like, I would only, it's usually, when I make a recommendation too, it's a film like this, for example, with all its flaws. I would do it if someone asked for a film with a certain theme, like say, and this film covers a lot of themes.
Like Ray Fiennes making a bad accent.
Well,
no, but if it was something like a virtual reality film, I would say it doesn't work, but it's worth seeing.
It's a mess, but it's kind of fun.
Well,
not bads and near misses.
If anyone's interested, I'll give my opinion. It's a movie. It was in color. I wasn't expecting that. Be honest, I don't think I recommend it. The more the movie progressed, the least I liked it. There's just too much shit going on. It just becomes incoherent and just a bit of a disaster after a while. I love the opening bit with the robbery in the bank. That's the best part for me in the movie. So no, I'm good.
I still can't believe it's 2 hours and 25 minutes.
It's a 2.5 hour movie that should have had at least an hour cut out of it. All the women are underutilized, which is kind of surprising considering it's a woman director. James Cameron, it's very immature. It could have been a way better movie. There's too much going on. It should have been just a little more thought out. Let's do our pairings, Alex. So it's 2 for 1.
Hello.
On Monday at Black Dog Video, and someone for some reason brings up Strange Days.
Hey, come on.
And they say, listen, I'm going to watch Strange Days. I have 3 hours of my life I need to kill. What could go with this? What would you recommend?
The movie doesn't quite work, but another one, I don't know what I kept thinking of the whole time was another movie, oddly enough. I wanted to like way more than I did, but it was awful. Yeah. Wes Craven's Vampire in Brooklyn.
Oh, really?
Starring Angela Bassett and Eddie Murphy. Yeah.
Oh,
another jumbled mess. An interesting director.
Yeah.
And who not a bad idea.
He's done great movies, but
we're going to team up and do a trippy vampire movie.
But it's a comedy, though, right?
Or is it? Well, it's like Strange Days.
I've never seen it.
It's a mess.
I've never seen it either.
I would team it up with Wes Craven's Vampire in Brooklyn.
Interesting.
Also,
Angela
Bassett, who's also the best thing in that movie and is criminally underutilized.
Well,
she's usually the best thing that she's in. If she worked here, she'd be the best employee. No offense, but she'd be way better than you guys.
Well, yeah. This is Angela Bassett.
Yeah.
It is Monday here at Black Dog Video, and every Monday it is 2 for 1.
Every single Monday.
You walk up to the counter with a copy of Strange Days, and Darren is sitting there.
Hey, and
what would you recommend?
And I'll look at you with a weird look on my face. So you're looking for like a New Year's Eve movie. I'm gonna give you Strange Days. I'm gonna pair this with the Poseidon Adventure, which takes place on New Year's Eve on a fucking boat that turns upside down, and you have to escape.
Well, it's a great film.
Yeah,
I love Poseidon Adventure.
The original Ernest Borgnine? Yes.
Yeah.
It's got a heavy-handed false prophet symbolism with like Gene Hackman's Preacher. I love that movie nonetheless.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
But they try to, you have
Shelley
to escape
Winters.
on a Christmas tree and stuff, and those who don't, it's like all this false prophet shit. But it's still a cool movie.
Yeah.
Quick question.
I didn't know about all the subtext.
How do you feel about the sequels, Poseidon? Did you ever see it?
Was that what like
Beyond the Poseidon Adventure, Sally Fields?
I never saw any
Sorry,
sequels.
the remake with.
Actually, I did watch the remake
with Josh Lucas and Kurt Russell.
It was kind of boring.
There's a sequel too, though, Beyond Poseidon Adventure, and Sally Fields in it.
Really?
Burt Reynolds talked her into doing it.
And does it happen again? Get back on the ship. I can't believe it turned over upside down again.
No, but I'm going to go with Poseidon Adventure for New Year's Eve movie.
That's a very good choice.
Thank you.
Because I forgot that movie took place at New Year's Eve.
Anyways, Dylan, what's your...
It is 2 for 1 Monday.
2 for 1 Monday at Black Dog Video.
Now, I put a lot of thought into this. First of all, because I enjoyed this movie a lot more than either of you did. Yes. I had a few ideas, Brainstorm being the obvious pairing. The original Max Headroom movie.
For fuck's sake.
This is the one I would... Really? Think about it. Have you ever seen Max Headroom, the film?
No.
Well, then you don't know what you're knowing about.
Recommend the movie we have. And all this shit. Recommend movie we have. Like, there's no point in recommending movie we don't have.
We should have Max Headroom
That's
movies.
his way of telling you should order it.
The movie I am picking is similar in tone, and it's also about a troubled protagonist who is heartbroken in a world gone awry, and that movie is
World Gone Mad.
That movie is Children of Men. Is the one that I would recommend.
Children of Men is a fucking great movie. It's one of my favorite movies. It's so good. It's so good. It's an amazing film. No, that's a pretty good recommendation for if you're looking at the sort of dystopia, sort of end of the world kind of thing. It's quality pick.
And it only occurred to me like 3 hours ago. Like
paired Children of Men basically with any movie we've done or we will do. I will say that's a great pick.
Right.
Because it's a great movie.
All of Me.
All of Me, Scarlet Empress,
Dick Tracy,
Dick
Dark Man.
Let's wrap this fucker up and let's go. We're probably too late for chicken wings now, but let's go for a beer. Let's wrap this.
So we are located at 1470 Commercial Drive
and 3451 on Canby Street
in Vancouver
for
Canada.
Your renting pleasures.
Yeah. And Happy New Year!
Happy New Year, everybody! I hope.
Happy New Year, everybody!
Where are you going?
For some wings.
I'm out of here.
The Black Dog After Dark podcast is recorded at Black Dog Video on Commercial Drive in Vancouver, Canada. It's presented by Alex Chisholm, Darren Gay, and Dylan Reimer. It is produced by Dylan Reimer and Darren Gay. Alex just kind of stands there and drinks beer. The intro and outro music was recorded by Tiger Burning Bright, composed by Jeff, who works at Jefferson's Barbershop, also on Commercial Drive. And he's a damn good hairstylist.